Hi my dear friends, welcome to the third session of our Unreal Engine 5 menu workshop. In this one we're going to pick up where we left off. In the previous session we created the level, and inside that level we created a simple looking widget, okay, and we called it start. It's right here, it's this one. And pay attention to the color of these files. One of them is orange, blue. They have different colors for widgets, images, and other types of files. Now back to our widget. In the previous session we added a background image, and in this one we're going to add a text, which is simply dragging a text option from the palette, and we can just resize this box around it. And if we go to the details panel and select content, we can, let me just collapse all of these tabs so you can see things more clearly. If we go to content, we can type anything that we want to appear there. So here I can just type out anything that I want to appear in that text box for me on my widget. So I'm gonna type something. For example, let's type contemporary style, okay? And now we can just edit this text until we are satisfied with the way it looks. We can go to appearance and change the font, change the color, change everything basically. So here I can change the color, okay, and then I can change the font that I want, whether it's a regular or bold, and I can change the size like so. And remember, whatever size that you use for your font, make sure that your green box surrounds the text, okay, like so. Now I can just scroll down, go down, and maybe choose a material for my font, which I don't really recommend, and we're not going to use that for our project. And I can just change the spacing between the letters, and I can always use this button to revert things back to what they were, okay. Further down we have outline setting, where we can just choose an outline for our text. For example, if I put 1 here, you can see the outline is black. I can change the color to something else, maybe red or purple. So I don't again recommend using an outline. It doesn't look that good. So let's get rid of the outline and go back to our widget. Alright, now there was another feature that I wanted to talk to you about. It's under appearance. It's called color and opacity. Well, color is pretty self-explanatory. You can just change the color to whatever color that you want. But if you go to opacity and change the value to a number less than 1, you can really see the differences and maybe choose whatever suits your project. Alright, so we just added a simple text and we edited it. So let's just compile and save, and we can just go back. Let me just change this standalone game play mode into the new editor mode. That will suffice. We will get a nice window like this every time we click on play mode. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so we just learned how to add and style a text. Let's move on to the second topic, and I'm going to show you with a little demonstration what I want to talk about. If I make this window a little bit smaller from the left side, you can see that this contemporary style text always keeps its distance from the left side. And let me just do it from the right, you can see it better. This contemporary style text is always keeping its distance from the left side, from the left border, okay? And every time I make this window smaller or bigger, it always keeps its distance, okay? So you can see that clearly. And let me do the same thing from the bottom. If I make this smaller from the bottom, again, we have the same quality with the text. It doesn't change the distance it has from the left side. Now, how do we achieve this? What is that distance really, and how do we make our text keep that distance even after the window is getting smaller? Let's answer these questions. So if we go back, you can see that we have on the top left corner this icon that resembles a flower. We call it the anchor. Now let me show you with a little button here. If I add a button here, and if I make it a little bit bigger and change the size of the window again, let's just go to play mode, change the size. See, kind of the same thing. And I'm going to explain why this happens and how to achieve this. So let me just delete this real quick and explain how to achieve this, okay? So for our text box here, or anything for that matter that we add to our widget, if we go to the details panel on the top right, we have anchors. And here we can lock that item to any part of the screen that we want. Okay, it's top left right now, but we can just change it to the center. For example, if I choose center, this text box, okay, would be placed here on this anchor. And now if I compile and save and go back to the game mode, if I change the size of the window, that contemporary style text will always take center, okay? Will always be placed at the center, okay? So this is how we achieve this effect. Now, anchors are very important, and that is why I usually put one at the top left corner so that I can just see it and remember where to lock certain things. Okay, in Unreal Engine 4 it was more difficult, but in Unreal Engine 5 it's easy to have an anchor icon at your disposal. And I just added a button, and again I can choose an anchor point for it right away. So always make sure to use anchors in your work. Let's move on. The next thing that we're going to learn in this session is how to add blur, the blur effect, to our work. If I search for BA, I get background blur, okay? And I can just add it to any part of my widget or screen here. And I can change the size. And for example, if I want to use it for my text, let me just show you real quick. Let's just make this blur a little bit bigger. And right now, the reason that you cannot see the effect is because it's just too weak. If we go to the details panel and go to strength, you can just choose a bigger value. And now you can see that that section is more blurry. Okay, I can just put it anywhere I want, and I can just have my text on it. The reason that my text is underneath is because in the hierarchy, my text box has been put underneath the background blur, and all I have to do is to change their places. So if I put my text on top, you can see that it's just very visible and intelligible on that background blur. And right now we may not be needing a background blur that much, but there will be certain screenshots or images where you have to use it for your text to pop out and be more visible and intelligible. So it kind of depends on the type of image that you are using for your menu. And right now you just learned about background blur, and if you needed it, you can just simply use it like so. All right, let me just delete the background blur and put the text where it was, and let's move on. Alright, now that was it for this session. In the next one, we're going to learn all about buttons, and we're going to dedicate one session entirely to buttons, how to add a style and change them. Now for this one, if I do a Control-C, Control-V of this text box, I can just make a quick copy of it and put it underneath. And if I go to the details panel for the second box, I can again use another text for it, for example cg.master. So cg.master. Okay, so like we did previously, we can change the font, we can change the size of the font, make it bigger or smaller, and the rest. So you get the general idea. You can use these text boxes to add the name of the project, maybe the name of the designer, or any other type of information that you want to have there. Okay, so like I said, in the next session we're going to dedicate the entire session to buttons because they are a little bit more complicated than text boxes and the rest. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.